Hello everyone, Voodoo here, and the season is almost here. The patch has launched, and today I want to talk about what to play between Fel-Scarred or Aldrachi Reaver. Now, on Monday, we'll have my full Havoc Demon Hunter 11.2 Season 3 guide, and I believe Wowhead's already updated, and I believe the Havoc fact should be, I'm writing it, but it should be updated by now as well, or at least soon it'll be up. But today I want to talk about what to play between Fel-Scarred or Aldrachi Reaver in keys and in raid for when season launches on Tuesday. So with that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Again, the guide is coming Monday, and I will see you guys in the video. All right, so first things first, we need a baseline, and this is currently where our highest pure single target build is sitting. This is the raid portion. So the big thing here is that trinkets were nerfed, which did affect our DPS, but then we also just took Astral Antenna, which doesn't, didn't really matter in the end. This is Havoc's best single target build, Prometheus. This is Fel-Scarred, the Chaos Strike build. I'm sure most people know by now. Why can't I click? It always does this. In terms of pure single target sim DPS, we're not the best, but one of the big things for Havoc is that if you play Aldrachi Reaver, which is behind on single target, it's about 1.2, 1.3% behind, and is harder to play. This is Inertia. Exergy is 2% behind Fel-Scarred. The big thing here, due to Wounded Quarry, is that for every target you add after the first, you are gaining a lot of single target damage back into your main boss, right? So this really quickly makes up the difference, especially because for Fel-Scarred, because of their talents, as you add more targets, you do less single target damage, right? Isolated Prey turns off completely at 2 targets, which means you do not have the always crit, which means you're losing a ton of Immolation Aura damage, which as we can see is 18% of your damage, and also are losing a ton of Rage Fire damage because this always stores crits. If you're hitting 2 targets and not always critting on them, this deals a lot less damage than hitting 1 target and always critting on them. So you're losing that, but also you're losing Focused Hatred damage. So this deals more damage to basically all targets whenever you Demon Surge. But when you're hitting 1 target, it's 50%, 2 targets 40, 3 targets 30, and so on. So as you gain more targets, you're losing Demon Surge damage to your primary target. So as you add more targets, Prometheus Fel-Scarred gets a lot worse because of Isolated Prey, because of Focused Hatred, while Aldrachi Reaver gets a lot better because of Wounded Quarry, but also because of the free cleave it has with Scream Brutality, with all the glaive stuff, with Fury of the Aldrachi, causing a ton of slashes, and just generally having more I-beam, well, not more I-beams, but just generally having a better cleave profile. So what does that mean in terms of bosses? Well, in terms of bosses, for pure single target bosses, you want to use obviously Fel-Scarred, 5.42 million. I think they might give us a Chaos Strike or Fellblade buff, which will mean you won't play this more, but we'll see if that happens. So pure single target bosses, and then for all the rest, you want to play either Inertia Aldrachi Reaver or Exergy Aldrachi Reaver. Now, you're probably wondering what bosses is that? Let's hop in game and look at the dungeon journal and I will tell you. All right, so here we are in the dungeon journal and we're talking about which bosses to play as single target. So the first ones are obviously the first 2. Even on Mythic, there is an ad on this guy, but it happens in the intermission phase. I'll see if I can get some footage or something of it. So basically when you run through, you have to kill 1 ad, but you're always only hitting 1 target. And because of that, 1 target, single target boss, there you go. Other one, Lumathar. Again, this is always basically just 1 target. It does shoot out and break and cause some webs to be hittable. The thing with that is that those things don't really have much HP. There's not really a ton of opportunity to cleave from them, really. They're kind of far from boss, although Isolated Prey has its own issues in range. And the other thing is that the entire second half of this fight is all pure single target, and there's a damage amp there. And Fel-Scarred is pretty good in damage amps. I'm pretty sure because Burning Blades and all that stuff just causes some weird issues. The other one that's for sure Fel-Scarred is Fractalus. This boss is 100% pure single target. You literally do not hit another target the entire fight, which means that Fel-Scarred is just going to be better. There's literally no opportunity for ads at all. None, 0, zilch, nada. So no reason to play that there. There is a possibility for Nexus King Saladar. However, there is the ad phase, there's so many ads that spawn and there's a big guy to funnel into that I feel like AR will be better. And likewise in phase 2, you're fighting both the dragon and the boss, which again means Fel-Scarred is horrible. But in P1 and P3, you are fighting just the boss. So if there's a world where P1 and P3 are the most important parts of the fight, and P2 and the intermission is pretty easy to get through, you can kind of just Fel-Scarred has AoE when you hit 6+ targets, which you are there, you're doing good damage with Demon Surge and Immolation Aura and stuff like that. But if you have, the ability to funnel into it, AR is very good. If that funnel matters and the 2 target matters and it gives you a lot more damage, you'll play AR. If the final phase matters the most and the other phases are fairly easy, which I don't think is going to happen, I think they're going to be all pretty difficult, then you can play Fel-Scarred here. I think it's going to be an AR fight, Aldrachi Reaver, but we'll see. And there's Dementius. It has ads, and there's other stuff in the dungeon journal it mentions about like other ads. So I think this is also probably an Aldrachi Reaver fight, because there's these guys you have to kill somewhere down here, and you have to kill them together and all that stuff. However, if this turns out to be not many ads, then I could see this being a Fel-Scarred fight as well. But for now, we're going to say Aldrachi Reaver because of all those ads, right? And then the other ones are just Soulbinder's Injury has a ton of ads very often. There's often parts of 3-target cleave or more target cleave intermission. AR fight pretty easy, funnel back into the boss. Forgeries are a Raz. Again, there's a bunch of orbs that you have to fight, a bunch of attendants you got to kill, an echo you have to kill. This is a pretty clear and easy like cleave fight in my opinion, which means that again, it's an Aldrachi Reaver fight. And then Soul Hunters. Here I could see like a Fel-Scarred build that doesn't play single target. It plays like more AoE focused. But I think just playing Aldrachi Reaver AoE is going to be better because you can hit the targets in intermission with your glaives when you just hit the one target. So in intermission, if I can pull up the abilities here, one of them goes in the middle and does their abilities, and then the other two fly off. You can actually cleave those other two with like Ignite, with like Frost Lance, and Glaives, which I think makes AR just much better. I could see AR playing like Immolation Aura stuff here because it is like 3-target cleave, which is generally where Aldrachi Reaver is better. But there is, also a case here for Fel-Scarred because it does have a lot of Immolation Aura damage. But again, I think that this is probably an AR fight. So to recap, Plexus Sentinel is going to be Fel-Scarred, Lumathar is going to be Fel-Scarred, and Fractalus is going to be Fel-Scarred. The other two, Nexus King, probably Aldrachi Reaver, chances of Fel-Scarred, but probably AR. Dementius, again, probably Aldrachi Reaver, chance it's Fel-Scarred, but probably AR. And then the other three fights are 100% for sure Aldrachi Reaver, no chance you're not playing that there. So that's Raid. We'll cover Mythic Plus pretty quickly. All right, we're in game here. Now, no sims for this because inherently AoE sims are wonky at best. We've done some dungeon route sims. They do show that Aldrachi Reaver is better, but they're wonky. Always take those sims with like huge grains of salt. Simming Mythic Plus is nearly impossible because of how like varied and different like damage profiles over a dungeon. But on that note, I mean, like, this is just the same build from last tier, and this is going to be the build you play pretty much. The big thing here is that Havoc has the best Mythic Plus funnel. Arcane and Assassination Rogue also have very good funnel. However, Havoc's is a little bit better. They do Arcane and Assassination bring other things that are good. Arcane has really good utility. It's a mage. I think Assassination has really good overall. Havoc, however, does bring Chaos Brand and does bring the funnel. So there is chances it's played in a meta comp. We are going to be very good next season. Looking at it, like, most people have us in the pretty high tier, not like S tier, but like kind of outside of that. We have our own niche, which is very strong, and that is going to be Wounded Quarry. Wounded Quarry is crazy, right? All the physical damage you deal to any enemy also deals that to, 20% of that to your target that you get marked, and it's chaos damage, which means it gets buffed. We have a lot of physical damage with Strain Brutality, with AoE Blade Slash, but also with Fury of the Aldrachi, which, because of our tier set, after you cast Chaos Strike, it casts 12 slashes, which is a lot, and our tier set also further buffs all of our physical damage. So Aldrachi Reaver will be the premier option in keys because of how powerful the funnel it is, right? Like, that's Havoc's niche. Havoc will be brought for Chaos Brand and will be brought because of the super powerful funnel it deals, while also having like okay overall and pretty good single target. That's kind of Havoc's thing. Now, if you're not doing high keys, if you're not doing keys that are hard for your gear level or your skill level, you're doing, weekly no levers or easy low keys or anything like that. I don't want to give a key range here because what key level is hard for you is going to depend on who you are as a person or a player. But if you're doing a key that's like easier for you, then Fel-Scarred is probably going to be a very good option. If things are dying super fast, so the funnel doesn't like matter that much. If you're in a key where funnel doesn't matter, if your comp has an Arcane Mage or an Assassination Rogue, and you play in a pre-made group, then you can play Fel-Scarred. Fel-Scarred brings a ton of AoE damage. However, it's not like the craziest overall, and it also loses a ton of priority damage and single target damage, right? The thing, again, same in Raid with Fel-Scarred, is that as you add more targets, your damage to your one priority target decreases because of Focused Hatred. This build doesn't play Isolated Prey, of course, so that doesn't really matter. But as you add more targets, the damage bonus to the main target you want to kill goes down. But, this is kind of just like an AoE blaster spec, really, right? You got ton of chaos direct damage with flame bound with all of the immolation aura talents. AR has this as well, but of course, you know, because of flame bound, it's much better. And the tier set, which just buffs immolation aura by 30% and then gives you that soul as well. So there's a ton of like damage going on in AoE, but a lot of it is like pad damage, right? It's like overall damage. You're not doing a ton of priority damage, which you can burst down packs pretty quickly if the packs, you know, won't live that long. So again, if you're doing an easier key or you're in a pre-stack with an arcane or an assassination rogue, you don't really want to have 2 funnel specs at once. Or you know, you're just you can if you just want to play this, you can. Fel-Scarred would be better, but if you're like pushing keys that are hard for you, wherever you are in your keystone level, Aldrachi Reaver will help you time keys more because it brings that funnel. Again, if you're with an arcane mage or an assassination rogue, having 2 funnel specs is not the best because you're kind of taking damage from each other, right? You're going to kill the funnel target before the pack dies, which isn't really the idea there. But AR is going to be kind of like the bread and butter for pushing keys that are hard for you. Fel-Scarred will be like the bread and butter for like easier keys, like shit talking friend keys or any key level that's not like as difficult for you, or if you don't need the funnel. So there you go. That's Mythic Plus basically. Both are viable, both are very good. You can play whatever you want. But that's kind of the case for one or the other. AR just has a better damage profile. And there we go. That is going to be kind of where each build and whatever is going to be played. Again, I'll have a full guide out on Monday covering, you know, everything I normally cover in my guides. This is like, how many seasons is this now? This is probably like season 9 or 8 or something like that of me doing WoW content for Havoc. So people have been here a while, kind of get the gist now, but that'll be Monday. Today, I just wanted to kind of give a primer for people who are doing stuff this weekend, or maybe they miss my video on Monday and going to raid on Tuesday. But yeah, so new season's almost here. Havoc looks pretty good, specifically in Mythic Plus. Raid, tough to say. I mean, we have a spot, but our single target isn't amazing. We get really good when you add things to cleave off of into the equation, but our pure single target's like not the best, which is kind of where Havoc is normally, to be fair. But yeah, I don't know. New season's gonna be fun. I think Void stuff's super sick. And of course, we will learn in like 2 weeks now if there is a Void Demon Hunter. I expect we'll hear about it at Gamescom, which is exciting. Of course, I'll have a pog face thumbnail thing when that happens. But yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you think. Are you gonna one trick one of these two? Or are you gonna alternate between them, like I said, or do you just not care? So yeah, hope you guys have a good weekend, and I'll see you guys on Monday with the guide video and Tuesday with the season launch. So like, comment, subscribe. Peace. A big thank you to all of my channel members. Thank you to Correlated, Alexander Trifonovich, Fear Redefined, Loose Change, Zooligan, Gabriel Correa, Magic Man 133, Falafadar, and Dark Terror. Again, a big thank you to everyone who watches my videos, but especially a big thank you for people who are helping support the channel. If you want to support the channel, become a channel member down below for a few perks. More to come in the future. And with that, again, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace.